I decided to do my research on the culture in Australia. I've never been to Australia before, so I thought it would be really neat to learn about the culture there. And I found out that it's actually very similar to that of the US. Australians are very individualistic people, and they pride themselves on the self-reliance that their ancestors had to build a modern society on such rough and inhospitable lands. We use the same rules for names and pronouns, so we go by first and last name, and then both cultures also use first person pronouns a lot, so me, my, and I, whereas other collective cultures will use second or third person pronouns like we, our, and they. They have a very low context culture, so they will use words to express their feelings and ideas, and they like to do so in a very sarcastic and ironic tone. They scored very low on the uncertainty avoidance scale, considerably lower than the US. Australia scored a 27 on the scale, whereas the US scored a 65. They also scored very low on the power distance scale. Australia scored a 35 on this, whereas the world average was a 55. So what this means is that they show greater equality between all members of society, whether it be government, business, or even family life. Australia and the US are very similar in regards to their competitiveness as well as their sense of individualism and independence. The low context and avoidance scores shows that Australians are not afraid to speak their minds and voice their opinions, and that leads into my culture shock and adjustment. Because the Australians are very assertive people, I think that would be the biggest adjustment that I would have to get used to if I was over there. I'm not an assertive or confrontational person at all, so I think that the way I would adjust to that assertiveness is to intensify my sarcasm. I am a very sarcastic person to begin with, and I think that my way of coping with that shock would be to intensify it, and I feel like they would just give it right back because apparently they're very sarcastic and ironic people themselves. Australia holds a lot of festivals. A lot of them are in Sydney. So the first festival is the Sydney Art Festival. It's held in January. It consists of concerts, theater, and fireworks. They also have Aboriginal art festivals. They have the Barunga and Cultural Sports Festival, which is held in June, and then also the Stompin' Grounds Festival, which is held in October. They also have a gay and lesbian Mardi Gras festival that is held every year in February. Hundreds of thousands of people will come from all over the world to marvel at this event, and it's been known to be the largest of its kind in the world. They also celebrate a lot of Chinese culture. So the different Chinese culture festivals that they have are the Chinese New Year, the Dragon Boat Festival, and the Lantern Festival. I think that the biggest cultural component that I would have to get adjusted to if I lived in Australia was the fact that they are very laid back. I know that in the US, there are some laid back people, but I also feel like there's a lot of very high strung people. I feel like I could fall into that category every once in a while. So I think that would be one of the biggest cultural components for me to get accustomed to, is just relaxing. So that was what I found out about the culture in Australia, and I hope you enjoyed it.